This video is a side lying hip shift. So we will be working on moving our torso, pelvis over top of the bottom hip. So you're gonna set up laying on your side, and learning this with a ball or a foam roller between your knees can be helpful. So you're gonna lay on your side, and we're gonna try to find a neutral spine, neutral torso. So we're not moving too much through here. The movement is through the bottom hip. So I can use my ball or my foam roller to sort of guide this movement so my knees are about hip distance apart. And then I'm gonna drive my top knee forward to roll my body over top of my bottom leg. So I'm getting the bottom hip moving into a internally rotated and adducted position. And you can see I'm using my top hand to make sure I'm not cheating through my rib cage to make that motion happen just from my spine. I want to keep this neutral here, and I want to have that motion happening from my lower leg. So if you're using a foam roller, it's going to go between your knees, and then you're going to set up your torso. Top knee is going to slide forward, so we're moving around that bottom hip. I'll show from behind. So neutrals through the spine. I'm going to make my rib cage stack right over top of my pelvis, and I'm going to move all of this as one unit over top of my bottom hip. So I'm opening up the space in my hip down here. So this supported version with the ball or the roller, or I can take this away and float my bottom hip. So my bottom hip is floating about hip distance apart from my top hip. And now I've got this leg doing a little bit more work, but I'm maintaining about hip distance apart with that. So if I show from the other side, I have the top hip floating about hip distance apart, so my ball or my foam roller would have been here, but I can progress to this more difficult version where I'm rolling over top of this bottom hip. And I'm getting a little bit of eccentric loading in my lateral hip muscles of my bottom hip, and some isometric loading of my lateral hip muscles on my top hip.